Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Fran. In this channel, I make educational videos on healing trauma and everything about mental health. Today, I wanted to talk about 3 fantasies that we have that are actually caused by childhood trauma. For me, I spent years in looking for the answers for that because I am this kind of person who get trapped in my head, in my stories, in my imaginations, all kinds of fantasies all the time, to a point that I get cut off from reality. I didn't realize it was a problem until I talked to people. I mean, everybody has their dreams of fulfilling their own life meaning, you know, but not to a point that it interferes with their everyday life. People, they have realistic kind of goals. They have they wanted to be promoted by the end of next year. They wanted to pass this exam by what time, right? They wanted to buy a car. But I don't have realistic kind of goals. All I have was, you know, one day I'm gonna be this amazing person. One day I'm gonna, you know, be on TV. But I don't actually have specific steps towards it. Instead, I dream without actually taking actions. So I would rather be in my own head. I get trapped in the stories because I indulge myself in them, because I get kind of euphoria kind of feelings from those fantasies. The first one is the fantasy that I can fix you. You can see from the movies, from the TV shows, that a lot of people who have their own issues, right? But they don't want to fix it. They don't want to put in time and efforts to do the healing work. Instead, they focus on their partner. They focus on someone else in their life, their friend. They are requesting their friend, their partner to change, to improve, so they could be okay. But on the essence is that neither one of them are okay. And the only way to do it is to do the healing work first, because you cannot control the other people if they don't want to heal. You cannot really change the other person if they don't want to change. And a lot of us really believe that if we stick to this long enough, the other person would change as a result. But it doesn't happen like that. This is a really big one for children who grew up in dysfunctional homes. They develop this codependent style. Major symptom of codependency is that we are enmeshed with another person. We don't have this individual sense of self. We have no idea what our values are. We have no idea that we can exist without someone else. So what we often do is that maybe we meet this person, this guy in my case, right? So I meet this guy and I totally dependent on him. It means that if he says that I have value, then I'm okay. If he rejects me, criticizes me, it means that I have no worth. My identity really relied on his approval, on his validation. And another big sign is that, well, if this person, he goes out and he shames himself, he embarrasses himself by doing some stupid shit, and we feel like it's reflected on us. We feel like if you do this bad thing, and it means that I'm bad too, I'm now embarrassed by you. Because we are our value, our sense of self is enmeshed with this person. We believe that whatever they do can be reflected on us. So we would micromanage, we would try to control their behaviors, their thoughts, their emotions. We're trying to control this person as a way to validate the sense of self, as a way to control ourselves. For people who are codependent, we often have this dream, we often have this fantasy that we wanted to save this person. First, we can prove our value to this person, right? If I can fix you, it means that you cannot leave me because I'm important to fix you, so that I don't get abandoned. Another way to look at this fantasy is that, so if I am able to fix you, maybe you're alcoholic, maybe you are an addict, right? You're a sex addict, you're a whatever addict. If I can fix you, then you're okay. So I can be okay. If you're not okay, it reflects bad on me. So in a way that my value is enmeshed with this person. This is how the I'm gonna fix you kind of fantasy manifests. The second kind of fantasy is omnipotence, meaning that one day I'm gonna be this all-powerful, amazing human being. I'm gonna show my face on TV. I'm gonna be the cover of the magazine. I'm gonna be the person that millions admire, worship. I'm gonna be the idol or whatever. But in reality, most of us, most of the people who have this kind of fantasy, we have social anxiety. We're socially awkward. We cannot even stand being stared at in public. We cannot stand showing our faces in social occasions. We cannot stand being in the center of attention. In my other videos, I talked about the roots of social anxiety. I'm gonna put it up here. You can check it out later. But the essence is that if we're socially awkward, it means that we have this belief, at least we have this perception, that people are constantly evaluating us. They are constantly taking us to measure up against their own standard, how we should behave, who we should be. If we fall short on any of those standards, it means that we are defective. It means that we are bad at core. We are terrible people who don't have value. So, because we have this fear and anxiety towards being negatively judged and evaluated, we avoid all social occasions altogether. And that is this kind of isolation and loneliness comes from. So to compensate for this desperation, to compensate for this sadness of not being good enough, we come up with this healing stories that one day, all of them are gonna realize my value, how amazing I am, I'm on top of the world. I'm gonna do great things and prove to the whole world that you should never reject me. You should never look down on me. I'm gonna, throw this on your face and do all this kind of stuff. And it was actually driven by this perfectionism. And what do I mean by perfectionism? It means that maybe when we're children, we're not accepted by parents. Maybe when we cry, they think we're weak. When we are angry, they think we're being a bad kid. So we learned to hide who we are. Instead, we modify our behaviors. We think the better we do, the higher possibility that my parents will accept us. So we learn to strive, we learn to be better, we learn to be perfect enough for our parents to gain their acceptance. And that's how perfectionism really starts. The third kind of fantasy is about being the one. It means that we obsess about being chosen by someone. For example, by our partner. For years, I have this fantasy, like whenever I am in a relationship with someone, I often dreamed about, like, they talk to their friends or family members about me, saying that, well, she is the one, she's the love of my life, she is this amazing person I cannot live without. To a level that even though I understand the current situation is not work out, I understand that this person is not good for me, I still stick to the original fantasy that I want them to choose me. I want them to admit to me that I'm the one for them. I have dedicated a video in talking about why we obsess to be chosen. I'm gonna put it up here if you're interested in learning about the details. But in general, when we have this fantasy, this obsession to be chosen by someone, I don't care how good the rest of them are. I just want this specific one. Underneath all that, it was unmet need to be valued, to be paid attention to be important, to our caregiver. The obsession sticks because we never got what we wanted. Our needs simply just don't go away. It comes out one way or another. And in this case, it comes out as this persistent kind of fantasy, this persistent obsession. All these kind of fantasies are coping mechanism to prevent us from feeling the overwhelming pain, the overwhelming sadness that we didn't get enough love, attention, care, engagement as child. When all we have experienced is this emotional disconnection, we have to make up for it in our head. We have to come up with these fantasies so that we can experience that happiness, that kind of satisfaction that we never had. And I spent years in figuring out why I have those fantasies. Like, it was so overwhelming and so persistent to a point that I refuse to live in the reality. I don't want to experience everyday trivias. I just wanted to go back to my room. I can spend days lying on my bed, dreaming, fantasizing about this stuff, and feeling like I'm living in happy land. Finally, when I grew up, when I become an adult, I have to take responsibility for myself. I have to face reality that I need healing in this matter so that I can create the life I want instead of being indulged in those fantasies. Alright everyone, I hope this video is helpful. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. If you wanted to see more videos like this, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.